Welcome to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. I appreciate you joining me as always. We've got a great show coming up for you today. I'm going to be talking with two young men that are doing a great job. For me personally, they're actually running my company at sportsjourney.com, and they're two young guys that I really think you need to check out. They're NFL insiders for Sports Journey, talking about Conor, Forrest, and DJ Bland. Make sure you do check this out, because the next segment with these two guys on is going to be interesting to hear their thoughts on the Washington Commanders, who had a huge victory yesterday against the Philadelphia Eagles. I was there at Northwest Stadium. It was cold, frigid type conditions, and the Washington Commanders come back. Whether Jalen Hurts was hurt or not, no pun intended for the Eagles, Washington did something that most teams don't do. Mr. Jaden Daniels, the Rookie of the Year this year. It's done. It's marked up. It's already his trophy. They're engraving his name as we speak. Trust me, after a 5-touchdown performance, it was one for the ages, and Washington wins the game 36-33, and it puts them this much closer to clinching a playoff spot. There's still some scenarios that would help Washington, even if they don't win another game this season, which I think they're going to do, and we'll talk about that in the next segment as well. But the Washington Commanders, under Dan Quinn, under Adam Peters, Josh Harris, new ownership group, and being led by a rookie quarterback on offense, and Terry McLaurin, of course. And then on that defensive side of the ball, Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, Dorrance Armstrong, Daron Payne, you name it. Those guys needed to make some plays, and they made the plays that were needed to get the offense opportunities. And then, of course, Marshawn Lattimore. What do you say about this guy? They make a trade for him from the New Orleans Saints literally almost 2 months ago, and he's played in the second game, yesterday being the second game. Yes, he did leave the game later, but he looked pretty good in the locker room afterwards. I know that's not running around, but it didn't look like something of a big concern that he may miss some time. So that could be a good thing for Washington. Not could be, it would be a good thing for Washington. But we've got a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about in the second part of today's program. As always, folks, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on social media at Lake Lewis Jr. And then you can subscribe to this podcast, or if you want to watch it, you can subscribe to it on YouTube under the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. And then you can subscribe to it in audio form on pretty much all major audio carriers. So hang tight. When we come back, I'm going to have Conor, Forrest, and DJ Bland on with me here, right here on the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Welcome back, everyone, to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. And I'm going to bring in two gentlemen now that really need no introduction. If you're part of the Sports Journey family, you definitely know who these guys are. And I encourage you to support them, because they're the two faces that are running Sports Journey now. They're doing some great stuff. None other than Mr. Conor Forrest and Mr. DJ Bland, both, as you can tell, NFL insiders as well. And they're doing a great job, as I said, at sportsjourney.com. So make sure you go there and you check these guys out. Wanted to bring you guys on today because big win yesterday for the Washington Commanders. And before we get into how they won that game and why it was a big win, I just need you two guys to quiet the naysayers coming from up the road in Philly that are saying that they got the win because Jalen Hurts was hurt. I don't know what to say. I don't have any explanation, so I'm going to let you guys take it away. DJ, let's start with you. What do you see as far as that win yesterday? Was it because Hurts was out, or was it because Washington just grinded one out?
Look, first of all, CJ Gardner-Johnson, you messed around and you found out. When you run that mouth and you piss off Terry McLaurin, that's the wrong thing to do.
Right.
That defense got gutted by one of the best quarterbacks in this league that needs to be talked about with Pat Mahomes. I didn't see Jalen Hurts or Kenny Pickett missing tackles, getting basically juked out by Jaden Daniels. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see them get torched. I didn't see either one of them guys get torched for touchdowns after touchdown after touchdown. And let's not forget, 5 turnovers, and I believe at least one or two fourth down conversions that went for nothing at midfield, and you scored 30 and they scored 36.
Yeah, yeah.
That ain't got nothing to do with quarterbacks.
No, I mean, I'm glad you started it that way, Connor. Can you clean it up for us?
Yeah, man. I mean, I had a lot of conversations with people today, and it seemed to lead off the every single person I talked to was, listen, man, we know if Jalen Hurts played that game that they're gonna win. Look, if Barry Sanders in his prime came back, I'm sure we would have run for more than 30 yards, right? I'm sure if Fran Tarkington came back and
Yeah,
played, that would work. Look, this is football. I'm sorry, man. An injury on the football field is no different than a screen going for 15 yards. It's a part of the game. It's an awful part of the game. It's the worst part of our sport. But let's be clear, it is what it is. Our job is not to sit here and mince match up and talk about, hey, what would happen if this guy was playing versus this guy was playing. This isn't our job.
yeah.
Your job is to play each play with the cards you're handed. And Washington showed up there, and Jaden Daniels has officially risen above this entire draft class. He's risen above so many veterans in this league, but I think when you're just looking at this rookie draft class, there are maybe three quarterbacks in this league who are single-handedly putting their team on their back, and Jaden Daniels is one of them. I mean, you're watching a guy who's overcoming over 100 yards in penalties, 5 turnovers in a game, a running game that's not working, and number 5 is making everybody in burgundy and gold, in the stands, in the front office, on the sideline, in between the hatches better. And I don't think even Washington knew they were quite getting that when they walked up to the podium with the number 2 overall pick and had Jane Daniels' name on it. And I think if you're a Washington fan, if you're a football fan, this is a good thing. If you're a Washington fan, you're looking at the future of this franchise going in a direction we haven't seen in 30 years. And that's what yesterday meant. It wasn't about who got hurt and what could have or couldn't have happened. Yesterday was about what the future of this franchise is holding, and it starts and ends with number 5.
I'm going to tell you, both you gentlemen, why I think we're getting the chatter that we were getting today from Eagles fans. And you know what that is? They're realizing that this is getting ready to go back to the old days. They're realizing that, and I know we're going to take some heat for this, but this is what we do. We love it. Bring it on. There was a time frame, and I'm much older than both you gentlemen, but there was a time frame where the Eagles weren't relevant in the NFC East. They were the 4th team. Matter of fact, at times they were the 5th team because the Cardinals used to be in the division. So it was always the Giants, the Cowboys, and at the time the Redskins. And I think yesterday, for the first time, Eagles fans got a glimpse of what's to come. And okay, maybe Jalen Hurts got hurt in that game. He did. Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner put him to sleep. That's what happened. You don't want to ever see anything like that. He wanted to continue playing, but he didn't. But I really truly believe that all those fights that we saw happening throughout the game, you didn't see Washington's players backing down. So the bully came into the building expecting to bully Washington and do what they've done to them frequently over the past 6, 7 years. They've owned them. Let's call it like it is. Washington's had some big wins here or there in Philadelphia, but nothing to the magnitude of what was yesterday. And the reason for that is because they very well could meet in the playoffs in a couple of weeks. And that was a game that told Washington, we can beat you guys. I don't care what the scenarios are in order to beat you. We can beat you. And Washington had a signature game, and their young stud was literally what everyone was looking to see. When is this guy going to just sheer will take over a game against a Super Bowl caliber team? We've seen him do it all year long, but he hadn't done it against a Super Bowl threat. And he did it yesterday to the tune of 5 touchdowns, to the tune of the Eagles had only given up 2, what is that, passing touchdowns all year, if you can believe that. They gave up
Unbelievable.
they gave up 5 yesterday. And for my money, could have been more if Washington hadn't put the ball on the ground so many times. That's a story for another day. But I want to get your take because you guys are younger than me and you don't remember. I don't want to date myself, but you don't remember when it was Super Bowl or bust in this town for a long time. I mean, if it wasn't good enough to win the division, make the playoffs, get a divisional home game, that wasn't good enough. And I can legitimately tell you two young gentlemen this because one of the most disheartening losses this franchise had was when the Bears came into Washington for a divisional playoff game and beat Washington. And that started the Bears, their run. We knew what was coming once they did that. They beat, basically, you know how they say, you beat the king of the hill, and now you're the new kid on the block. Chicago did that. It reminded me a little bit of yesterday. It really did. And you guys know that when you're a young team, you need that kind of signature win to really prove to yourself, look, we know we're a good team. We know we're capable of being a playoff team, but can we be in the same breath as Detroit, Philadelphia, Minnesota now, Green Bay? Because those are the teams that they're going to have to go through in the playoffs if they're going to try to do anything. I think that win yesterday was eerily similar to when we've seen upstart teams, rather in the NFL or any other sport, beat a big time bully, a big time team, and it catapults them. Do you guys feel like this is the situation now with Washington where this could really springboard them into being a dangerous out come this NFL playoffs if they were to get in? Conor, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think what this season is to me is this is house money. I mean, we've said this on the Burgundy Gold post game live show. DJ, you've heard me say this 7 million times. Like, this season is house money. It's walking into a casino with a chip. You didn't realize that there was 10 grand on that chip, so you get to play with 10 grand, baby, right? We didn't know that coming into this year, that this is what we had to play with. But this is what we've got. So, I can only get so upset about, the shortcomings of this team because, again, we're so much further than we thought. But what was it that yesterday you tweeted this, Lake, and you nailed this? I mean, this is probably second quarter you tweeted. You said, I have a feeling this is a game we're going to be talking about for a while. And you could not have hit it more on the head.
I sure
and
did.
The reason was because what yesterday said to us was a little taste, because obviously this is on another stratosphere than 2012, but it's a little taste of what we got in 2012, which was what? It was, we've got this thing that you don't have. That's what RG3 was, right? That's what that Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan 2012 offense was. It was, I've got a thing you don't, and I've got a thing you can't stop no matter who you have. And that's what yesterday was to me. It was I've got a guy at number 5 behind center. We need to go down the length of the field and score a touchdown, and we're going to do it. We're just going to do it. And that's everything in football. I mean, we know the X and Y equation that needs to be done in football. You need a young star quarterback on a rookie contract to build a winner.
Yeah.
Washington's got it. Everything else will fall into place. Adam Peters has hit on enough free agents and enough draft picks in one offseason with Frankie Louvu and Jeremy Chin and Zach Ertz and Austin Eckler. Enough of these guys have been home run hits so far that I've got the confidence to say that you just gave me the golden egg. I've got enough dudes in the background to fill in the gaps. What else can you ask for as a football fan? What else can you ask for?
And now, not only that, and DJ, we'll get to you in a second here, but he's had a chance to evaluate and see now. So think of last year. He was putting together a team hoping that his intuition was right, that they could come together and be what we see. But it was a lot of like wet clay. It hadn't dried up. You just didn't know what you had, what you were molding. Well, now they see the vision and they see the future, and they know that they probably got to get a home run threat at running back. They know they need another playmaking wide receiver. They know these things. They know they need another corner. They know that they're going to need a couple more offensive linemen. Listen, this is a roster that right now is probably 50% working on 50% gas in the tank right now. They still have to fill this thing up. It's not filled up at all. Imagine what it's going to be like when it fills up. DJ, you're one of the guys that's been candid about what you've seen with Peters from day one. Does this win yesterday, should this put some teams on notice that, a new bully is being developed here?
Absolutely. You kind of look at this team, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, right? So Pat Mahomes doesn't have all the great pieces in the world. Their offensive line isn't that great. And yet they continue to find ways to win. I also look back to the 91, around the 90s Washington Redskins that I remember. Don't remember too much of the 80s. I was too small. But the 90s team didn't have all these great stars. It had some playmakers, but it was a lot of lunch pail guys.
Mm-hmm.
And this team, sure, you understand that it's missing pieces that is needed.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a guy on offense that in Jaden Daniels that you can see the work that he's put in, but I have been trying to tell people that he's been doing this since LSU, and his understanding of the game. I mean, look at a lot of those throws. Those are Tom Brady like top-notch quarterback like throws where he's anticipating the throw and trusting that his receiver is going to be where he's supposed to be, understanding the offense. He's not waiting and looking like most rookies to see a guy open. He's throwing them open.
Yeah.
That touchdown was a thrown open. That ball was gone before Crowder ever even broke out of the route.
Yeah.
Because he saw that old boy's hips were in the wrong position.
Yeah.
And he knew that his playmaker could make a play, and he put the ball right where it needed to be. This is a team that is no longer going to be bullied, and they bullied the bully. With mind you, I'm not talking negative about the talent, but it is a lesser talented roster than what they went against yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
So the guard in this thing of the NFC East teams thinking they're going to come to Washington and it's an easy out, and all we got to do is punk them a few times. Yeah. Yep, punk them a few times, and they'll fold like a tent, and we'll be yucking it up and eating turkey legs on the sideline. Nah, they wasn't having none of that, and they got punked. They got punked in that first quarter. I mean, they were getting beat, and they were having a good old time. The Eagles were just yakking it up, talking,
dancing in the
running their mouth.
Yep.
And like I said, guys like Terry McLaurin, nice guy, but that ain't the guy you want to piss off.
No.
And when you start pissing him off, everybody else around there, you talk about the Frankie Louvu's, Captain Uso, you talk about Bobby Wagner, Marshawn Lattimore. Nah, all them guys stepped up. You saw an entire unit step up and be like, nah, we ain't taking this today. We are not laying down. You're going to have to kill us. We're not stopping.
You know what else just like really jumped out in this game was, the Eagles were moving the ball and Saquon had to run early. But I was watching the Lattimore A.J. Brown duo from the opening drive. And I didn't see that same – I'm not saying A.J. Brown didn't bring it because he did. But I didn't see that same braggadocio like behavior on the field. It came across to me being there in that stadium. It looked eerily similar to those Mike Evans, Marshawn Lattimore battles. It did. It almost looked as if AJ was like, damn, like I knew he was like this, but he's coming at me. And they battled, and both of them had winning moments in that game. But make no mistake about it, the Eagles left that stadium yesterday saying to themselves, this isn't the same team. This isn't, and I will like to say this to any Eagle person out there, you guys, because we've been hearing it all day. You weren't saying this a couple of weeks ago in Philadelphia where you were down 10-6 in the fourth quarter. And Washington hadn't played good football that game at all on either side of the ball. Special teams was abysmal that game as well. This game yesterday, again, okay, we understand the scenario of a starting quarterback, an all-pro player going out. But it would be one thing if the offense for the Eagles did nothing. And they still had moments. Kenny Pickett actually played okay.
He played pretty well.
But he's backing up a Pro Bowler that took a team to a Super Bowl. There's most backups don't come in and continue that, okay? Right. But it was the fact that defense, which came in as the number one ranked defense, got moved on. And they especially got moved on through the air, which is their calling card. That defensive front four was in a battle yesterday. And when you see Jaden Daniels, remember, guys, I said this all the way back in training camp. If Jaden Daniels can be no worse than what the second best player on the field on a Sunday, Washington's going to be in the football game to win it. If he can become the best player on the field on Sunday, we know the outcome. They're winning game.
Night.
Yesterday, by the end of the game, he proved, at least for yesterday, I'm not saying he's better than Saquon or he's better than Hurts, but as for yesterday, he was the best player on the field. And what was the outcome? They won. This is why I keep telling people that this football team is a team that if you are the Eagles, if you are the Vikings, if you are the Packers, if you are even the Detroit Lions, you're hoping and praying Washington does not make the playoffs. You're hoping they slip up against the Falcons. You're hoping that Dallas gets some and that they do not get in, because this is the type of team, as Conor said, they have nothing to lose here. This is an experience this year. This is just to get them battle tested for next year where they're really going to be a threat.
Yeah.
But
and I've heard that from a lot of fans too. Like
yeah,
a lot of fans have tweeted me, have DM me. They're like, after yesterday, and they're like, look, that Washington team is the team that I don't want to see my team face in the first round.
Of course they don't.
He's like, that team is dangerous. And he said the worst part about Washington is they fight you and they will not quit. It doesn't matter what you do to them. They just do not quit. And that's a dangerous team.
Yeah, they're showing that they win games at the end of games. You know, that if you give them the ball and an opportunity, and I know both of you felt like how I felt. So in the press box, when Jaden threw the interception with like, what was it, 3-something left in the game, at no part did I say to myself, okay, the game's over. I'm thinking if they can get the ball back, they'll see. Well, I'll tell you, the biggest play of that football game was Devonta Smith dropping that pass.
It was.
That was the play of the game.
No doubt.
Because when he dropped it, it told me, wow, they're going to kick a field goal and Washington has a chance now to win this thing. Did you guys feel like when Washington got the ball back, was there a part of you from years past that said, the game's over? Or were you thinking, this is kind of becoming the norm now?
Nope. I'm going to tell you what, when they kicked that field goal, I was like, just like what they do with Pat Mahomes, I said it. I was like, they gave him too much time. They gave him too much time. I knew that Jaden was going to put something together, and if they gave them time, they were done. I knew it. Once they kicked that field goal, that's the first thing I said. Too much time left.
Conor, you probably were already planning your post-game show. Did you have to change everything?
Yet again, this is multiple post-game shows in a row where I text Bob. Bob said, I put my notes away. I'm just watching now, brother. I mean, it was rip the script up and start again. I mean, it was funny. I oddly felt more confident in Washington's. This is a shoot. I said yes. I mean this. Felt more confident in Washington's ability to go down the field and score a touchdown than to get in field goal position and try to kick that field goal. Agreed. Now, it actually had less to do with the fact that their kicker situation has been in such flux really since training camp.
Yeah.
It had more to do with the fact that Jaden Daniels operates when you look at him in the face and say, go do it, sling it. I don't want you playing to get to the 50 and then get to the 43 and then get to the 38. I want you to hit what's comfortable. I want you to sit back in the pocket and make a throw. And that's what he does. That's what he's been doing. And again, I can't help but think, looking around the league right now, this is not to knock these other quarterbacks. I think Caleb Williams will be a great quarterback. I think Drake May is going to be a star quarterback. Bo Nix has shown a lot of great stuff. I mean, just go down the list of some of these rookie quarterbacks.
Played well yesterday.
Michael Penix played a great game. Not one time has a rookie quarterback this year, not named Jaden Daniels, put their team on his back the way that Jaden did yesterday in terms of elevating an entire franchise. Not an offense, not a defense, a franchise.
And a region.
A fan base. A region.
Yeah.
DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And I will just say this. This year reminds me a little bit of what 2022 and the Detroit Lions brought to us. Do you guys remember Detroit were 9-8 in 2022?
Yeah.
And what was it that we were talking about as that kind of hard knock season came in and everyone was kind of crowning them as the fun team and Eminem's shucking and jiving in training camp? They're the talk of the town. The difference between the 2022 Lions and kind of every other team that had a little momentum, the Lions left you bruised, man. Any team would tell you when they played the Lions in 2022, hey man, this team was lacking talent, but I had to ice up on Monday. Like, this team is coached by
Yeah.
killers, and
Yeah.
they're run by an office of Frankie Louvu's, and that's what this team is.
Yeah.
They let guys like AJ Brown get to the locker room after the game, and AJ Brown said to the media afterwards, it was great competition. Hats off to him. It was a fun game, and we've seen AJ Brown get hot after games when he's getting pushed and shoved around by guys. And Marshawn Lattimore, he said, "No, that dude's a dog." this defense balled it. It's mutual respect.
Yeah.
That is not given in football. That is earned by bruising up some dudes and making them respect you. It's an alpha sport. This is how this game has been structured, and it's what this team is. It's what they've earned. And that's what should make people excited. Not, Jalen Hurts got hurt. You beat Kenny Pickett. Congratulations. No. I'm looking at 30,000 feet. You guys are lying on the floor. I'm telling you right now that this is different. It looks different. It feels different. Lake, you were at the game. You feel the energy every week. Me and Lake, we had games for 2 straight years in the press box together. And we sat through some really, Lake, we sat through some bad games in 2022 and 23. Awful games where fans left the stadium. Me and you look at each other, watch the fans go. You go, how do you come back to this?
This is asked ourselves, why are we even here? Because
why are we even?
Because we could write the game synopsis from home. It was correct. They would come out in the first quarter, show some heart, and then by the second quarter, guys were thinking of the nightclub. It was already there to be had. So yesterday, again, it's just a microcosm of new ownership, new leadership, quality leaders in the building. Jaden Daniels having earned the respect of the veterans like the Bobby Wagners and Terry McLaurin's from day one because of his approach. So now they can go out and play free football. They can go out and get it done. And now I'm telling you, this acquisition of Marshawn Lattimore, and you see him now and what he's capable of doing. 2 weeks ago in New Orleans, nothing came his way, period. Against the Eagles, they tried him. They really wanted to see, is this really going to be a difference? And they saw it was a difference. Yeah, some holds, some pass interferences, but he brought a level of toughness and a level of physicality to this defense that they were lacking in the back end as far as on the sides, on their corners. So now you have that. Mikey Sanders still will get better for it. So I'm excited with the way this thing's going. But real quick, folks, right now I'm talking with Conor Forrest and DJ Bland, two of the faces for sportsjourney.com, NFL insiders with the network. So you got to check them out. Look, the Atlanta Falcons coming to town, rookie quarterback Michael Penix, DJ, team you cover, you know their tendencies. I'm just going to ask you brutally honest, do the Falcons have a chance Sunday?
No.
This game?
No.
You didn't even let me finish. Really?
Look, there's one thing that is an issue here. And it seems that Falcons fans think that it's quarterback position. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's bigger than the quarterback. And in the first drive, the first 2 drives, you saw that. The first one was a missed field goal, but you got guys dropping the ball. The offensive line play is very inconsistent, and it comes from different ways. So sometimes the guards get pushed back into the quarterback, and that's why Kirk can't step up in the pocket. He can't get out of the pocket because of the Achilles not being fully healed. So he gets sacked. It's a coverage sack, basically. You saw it with Penix. A couple times the tackles collapsed. Those collapse, he's got to step up in the pocket. And we know how quick these guys are as far as Dante Fowler, Louvu. Those guys are quick. And he's going to get sacked. Guys dropping balls. Ray McLeod it's known. It's like it's habitual. Kyle Pitts couldn't catch a cold if it was handed to him in pill form. And Drake London, again, drops balls. This team it's bigger than that. And look, they played the Giants yesterday. If you want a real assessment, go back and look at the 4 games that they lost. The defense was getting cooked on the back end. Okay. Bates and those guys, it looks like a version of Washington last year where guys are just all of a sudden confused in the back end. Look, this team in Washington understands what's at stake, and they got to come into Washington, that's a horrible, horrible,
Oh, it's going to be a
deal
bug
that they have to deal with
Yeah.
because you played the Giants last week.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoop-de-doo. You beat up on the Giants, and it took you a while to get going. This is going to be a whole different ball game. I think Penix will play decently, but we're going to see much of the same problems here. And you best believe that this staff will expose those things that have been on tape for weeks, and they will make them pay.
All right, Connor, we got about 5 minutes or so. So what are you looking forward to this game coming up?
Yeah, so there's no better Falcons expert on this. This is the collision of universes for our guy DJ Bland this week. So you best be tuning in to Burgundy and Gold Postgame Live on sportsjourney.com because this guy's going to be on fire. You know it. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree. I mean, echoing so many of DJ's sentiments. I mean, I know going into this season, kind of, I could see the wheels in Raheem Morris's head turning a little bit, right? What was the goal of this season? You bring in Kirk Cousins, you draft Michael Penix. The goal was, let's see if we get two different style quarterbacks in here, and I need to evaluate my talent. How good really is our team? Drake London, again, inconsistent. He's looked at times like a star receiver in this league, and other times a background character. Yeah. Kyle Pitts has never played up to his draft position, and it's a bummer because I always loved him. I loved him coming out of Florida, and at no point has he ever proved himself to be that star tight end receiver combo they wanted. Bijan Robinson has shown a lot of great flashes. He's a great athlete, but none of these pieces are cohesive. They're not coming together into any unified form. And it really does pair with the fact their offensive line has been really bad at times this year, and their defense. It's just, if it's not Darnell Mooney on a drag route or sometimes some sort of, deep crossing pattern, like it just doesn't seem like they're very interested in moving the football. So this kind of brings us to then Sunday night. Washington's got enough tape. I think we got a lot of smart guys in Ashford right now on chalkboards and on Expo, writing on dry erase boards. They've got the notes. They know what they're doing. I think Washington comes in here and handles business. I think Michael Penix adds an interesting aspect to this game that Kirk Cousins wouldn't. I believe Kirk Cousins' struggles this year are single-handedly down to the fact his Achilles isn't right. Yeah. And I think that Achilles injury at his age, it destroys quarterbacks. So Michael Penix will add a little bit more energy. I think he'll take more risks. I think that gives him more upside. I think it gives also Washington opportunities for more takeaways. I think those kind of balance themselves out. And when push comes to shove, I think Washington's just a better team here. I think they're better coached. And they've got the golden egg in their hands. They just got to go take it. And we've seen this in years past. They've had it in 2015. They lose to the Giants the final game of the year. We've seen these opportunities arise. I think this year's different. I think they take it. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this game as a game by Michael Penix playing now. It may prolong the agony that's going to come to maybe, it comes in the third quarter, early. But I do think that Washington wins this football game going away. I just think that after the win that they had, you could look at it and say, hey, a letdown could be coming because you emotionally spent after beating your division rival in the Eagles. No, I think they understand now that they did something that they were waiting to see if they could accomplish all year long, and that was to beat a legit team. And they've done that now. So now the next thing to do is something that I've been telling people they haven't done in 33 years. In fact, they're the only team in the NFL to not have won 11 games over the past 33 years. So they have a chance not only to clinch a playoff spot, something miraculous in their first year, but they have a chance to get to that 11-win mark in the first year of Dan Quinn being their head coach, first year of Jaden Daniels being your quarterback, first year of Adam Peters being your GM.
Incredible.
And really the first year of Josh Harris having true ownership and having his people in play. So kudos to the Commanders. That was a big win. I appreciate you guys for coming on. I just wanted to sit back and just hear the experts, hear you guys talk about this. And I'm excited. I'm excited for both of you two young men because you're doing some great stuff with Sports Journey. And this is kind of like the perfect time, for me to let everybody know, check these two guys out. You will not be disappointed. And this week, as Conor just said, is especially big because DJ covers the Falcons. He's down in Georgia. And then Conor's here covering the Commanders. So you'll be able to hear these guys on their post-game show. And it's always after the game. So make sure you check that out. And then, of course, you can check myself out. Did post-game show on ABC again with Natalie Spalla yesterday. Guys, it was cold out
You
here.
look cold.
You were looking good though. You and Natalie
He was
matching.
sharp.
You guys
He was
looked
sharp.
awesome.
You
You
know,
guys looked
it
awesome.
wasn't planned, but when she came in the press box, people were like, you guys always matching. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's got white on. I had white on. So it was good for television. It was good for
You look
television.
great.
Yeah.
You're a man for TV, baby. You're
Yes,
built for
sir.
TV.
I appreciate it, guys. Well, look, man, have a happy Merry Christmas and happy holiday. We'll be doing this again after next week's game, and hopefully we're talking about Washington in the playoffs after having beaten the Atlanta Falcons. So we'll talk about that. But once again, fellas, I appreciate it. You guys know I love you. Have a great Christmas on Wednesday, whether you're with friends, family, whoever it is. Don't eat too much.
Oh no,
Can't promise that. It's my pleasure, boys. Love you
right.
guys. Merry Christmas.
All right,
Love
take
you
care,
guys.
guys. All right, appreciate it. Man, that was a great segment. Appreciate Conor and DJ for coming on, and they held it down. And this is why I keep telling you, once again, check them out at sportsjourney.com. They're doing some really good stuff. And these are guys that I've known for a long time. They're much younger than me. They're like little brothers to me, but they're really taking Sports Journey to another level, and I'm excited about what they're going to be doing with the product and with the brand. So again, appreciate them for coming on. I appreciate you guys for joining us today as well and checking out the show. Remember, if you want to subscribe to it, you can do so on YouTube at the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. You can watch it there, or if you want to just get your audio fix, you can subscribe to it via Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, it's on there. So we're going to have a lot more coming up later this week after Wednesday. Once again, folks, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, enjoy time with family and friends, and come back on Thursday. We'll have another Lake Lewis Jr. Show. We'll be talking about the Washington Commanders as they get ready for a big time game, Sunday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons, with the playoffs on the line. Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, 2 rookie quarterbacks, Raheem Morris, Dan Quinn, back as coaches in the NFL for their second renditions. So it's going to be a lot of variables, a lot of storylines. Adam Peters has great history against, with the Falcons, being in their front office at one point as a scout. And then, of course, Dan Quinn. That's his former team that he led to the Super Bowl where they lost to the New England Patriots. So we'll have all these things that we'll be talking about coming up on another Lake Lewis Jr. Show. And then also, of course, Thursday, I'll be giving you a recap after practice of what's going on in Ashburn. So appreciate you guys. Have a great holiday. Be safe.